His name is Ren. Ren is competent, high-functioning, the kind of man who remembers birthdays and deadlines, the kind of man who answers before you finish the question. His phone is always face up, like a small altar, like a small threat. He tells himself it's discipline. He tells himself it's responsibility. But at night when the city quiets, he scrolls like a man checking a door that is already locked. Again, again, again. He isn't enjoying it. That's the part that scares him. A video ends. He doesn't stop. A message arrives. He answers. A headline appears. He reads just enough to feel informed and still empty. In the morning, he wakes tired, not from work, from friction. His mind has become a blade dragged through sand. He begins forgetting simple things, names, why he entered a room, what he opened the phone to do. So he tightens the system. He buys a new productivity app. He reads about habits. He sets rules, and still, his attention leaks, like blood from a small cut that never closes. One night, after another hour lost to nothing, he looks at his reflection in the black phone screen, and he realizes something. He isn't using it, he's obeying it. The next day, he takes a train out of the city. No explanation, not a gesture, just a quiet surrender. He goes to a place with no billboards, no glass towers, a place where the air feels older, a village at the edge of the mountains. And there, behind a wooden door, he meets a man who polishes swords. The polisher does not introduce himself like a salesman. He just nods. His hands are dry, veined, precise. He does not speak much, not because he's mysterious, because speech is expensive. Ren watches. A full minute passes. The man has not changed expression once. Ren tries to make conversation. He says, "How long does it take?" The polisher doesn't look up. He says, "Until the blade stops lying." Ren laughs almost, but it dies in his throat because he understands a neglected blade can still shine for a moment under the right angle of light. But shine is not sharpness. Shine is not truth. The polisher points at a small discoloration. "Rust," he says. Ren leans in. It's barely visible. The polisher continues, "Rust is not a dramatic event. Rust is permission." Ren asks the question he's been carrying for years. How do you keep it perfect? The polisher finally looks at him, not with warmth, not with cruelty, with clarity. He says, "I do not keep it perfect. I keep it attended." Ren notices the room. Nothing extra, no piles, no noise, not aesthetic, functional, seihin, dignified simplicity, not minimalism for appearance, minimalism for combat. Ren says, "My mind doesn't stay still." The polisher responds without judgment, "Then stop feeding what moves." Ren doesn't like that answer. It sounds too clean. So the polisher gives him a task. He places a tarnished knife in Ren's hands. Not a katana, just a common tool. He gives him a stone and he says, "A polish. 1 hour, no music, no phone, no story about it." Ren polishes like a man trying to finish, like a man trying to get back to his life. The polisher stops him with 2 fingers on the blade. "Slow," he says. "You are not removing metal. You are removing negligence." The first 10 minutes are torture. His hand reaches for a phone that isn't there. His mind invents emergencies. He thinks of messages left unanswered. He imagines people disappointed him. Then the next 10 minutes, he feels anger, not at the task, at the quiet. Quiet shows him the mess he's been avoiding. Then something shifts, not peace, precision. His movements become smaller. The sound changes. The blade begins to reflect cleanly. Ren looks at it like he's seeing his own face without distortion. He whispers, "It's different." The polisher nods. "It is honest." Ren thinks he came here to escape distraction, but he is learning something older. Distraction is not the problem. Untrained attention is the problem. A blade doesn't find sharpness. A blade is made sharp through subtraction. Your brain is not designed for infinite choice. It is designed for survival, and survival runs on reward. Dopamine isn't pleasure, it's pursuit. It's the molecule that says, go, check, seek, now. Modern platforms learned a simple truth. Intermittent reward is the strongest chain. Not every scroll gives you something. That's why you keep scrolling. Your nervous system is being trained like an animal at a lever. Not because you're weak, because the system is precise. Ren thought he lacked discipline. But discipline is not a personality trait. It's a habitat. Put a blade in salt air and blame it for rusting. That is modern advice. Attention is a finite fuel. Cognitive science has a name for what Ren feels: fragmentation. Every notification is a context switch. Every switch has a catalyst, not just time. A tax on depth, a tax on meaning. And when depth disappears, life becomes flat. You can have money, you can have status, you can have options, and still feel like you are watching yourself from a distance. Existential psychology calls this estrangement, not depression, not sadness, a quieter horror. You are present for everything except your own life. This is why the blade matters. A blade is not entertainment. It is consequence. It forces a question that modern life avoids. What happens if you can't control your hand? The polisher gives Ren no speeches, no slogans, only practices. Simple, unforgiving, not self-improvement, self-recovery. The polisher says, one surface, one tool, one task. Because attention dies in clutter, not because clutter is evil, because clutter is negotiation. Every extra object asks a question, and questions steal force. Ren goes back to his apartment and clears one table. Just one. No shrine to minimalism, a fighting position. The polisher says 30 minutes, silence, same time each day. Ren expects inspiration. What he gets is withdrawal, restlessness, irritation, an urge to check, an urge to flee. This is not a moral failing. This is a nervous system demanding its ration. The polisher teaches him delayed reward, not as punishment, as retraining. Your brain must relearn. Work comes first, then pleasure. Not because pleasure is wrong, but because inverted order makes you soft. Then the polisher gives him the final practice. He calls it the cut. Each morning, Ren must choose one thing that matters. 1 or 10, not a list to impress himself, a single cut through noise. And for 2 hours, he protects it like a blade in transit. No notifications, no browsing, no just checking. If someone is dying, they will call twice. Everything else can wait. Days pass. Ren's mind doesn't become perfect, but it becomes less porous. He notices something strange. When he removes stimulation, the world sharpens. Food has taste again. Walking has weight again. Conversation has edges again. He begins to feel the cost of a scroll. Not guilt. Cost. Ren returns to the same life. The city hasn't changed. It still sells comfort. It still sells escape. It still sells the feeling of being busy without being alive. Temptation is not removed. That is childish fantasy. Temptation is understood. Some nights he still fails. He catches himself scrolling, and for the first time he stops mid-scroll, not with shame, with recognition. He sees the rust forming, and he chooses the stone. Ren asks, "Do you ever get used to the silence?" The polisher thinks for a long time. Then he says, "No, you get used to the truth. Your mind is a blade, distraction is rust, discipline is polishing, solitude is the whetstone. The question is not whether you are distracted. The question is whether you are willing to become dangerous again.